Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurusmoth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Mythic Legion's Figura Obscura Masque of the Red Death figure from Four Horsemen Studios. The Masque of the Red Death is absolutely my favorite Edgar Allan Poe story, and I'm currently fighting off COVID, so this feels like an appropriate figure to look at. So let's take a look at this figure. Let's do this. Aesthetically speaking, this figure looks incredible, and honestly, I would not expect any less from Four Horsemen. Their sculpts are always top-notch. The Mythic Legions in general, I mean, they are visually striking figures, and the Figura Obscura stuff does not shy away from that at all. As we can see just here, the titular Mask of the Red Death, just incredible sculpt all around. Really love that it is kind of a separate molded piece over the skull piece. Just gives it some nice depth, gives it just a extra badass look. We get a lot of detail there in the forehead as well, so just really cool all around. Then we get to the cloth itself, and lots and lots of soft goods here, these just kind of funeral robes, as it were, and just a really nice heft to them, both like literally and just visually. It looks like heavy and funerary, so yeah, I just think they kind of knocked it out of the park there. And yeah, not only that, but a lot of this is wired. It's very light wire, but it does hold shape, so that's very, very cool. It's also the way it's layered. This hood is a separate piece from this kind of maroon piece, and then there's kind of an underdress going on here as well. And I'll have those off in the next section so you can kind of see these a little bit more distinctly, and so we can look at articulation later. But beyond that, the sculpt on the figure itself, you can see some very nice skin details going on here. The skin being kind of this charred black, and then coming out to some nice red here at the fingertips. We also get that. Actually, the feet are also all black, but again, very kind of skeletal looking. And again, that just continues all the way up. We'll see that a little bit more in the next section. But we do have some sculpted robes down here as well in plastic. So yeah, just overall, incredibly cool looking figure. We get a real good amount of accessories here, so let's not waste any time and jump right in. So starting with hands, right out of the box, we do get these kind of grasping open hands. Then we get a pair of gripping hands with a vertical hinge, and a couple of gripping hands with a horizontal hinge. And then finally, we get these more kind of crooked, kind of grasping hands. Yeah, because creepy hands, I guess. So again, that's great sculpt all around there. Then for those gripping hands, we do get a dagger done very, very nicely. Very basic dagger, but effective nonetheless. Then we get the robes that we looked at earlier. So again, here's the underdress with the hood. It's kind of attached here at the shoulder. And not very fun to get off, to be honest. So after the articulation, and this goes back on the figure, that it's definitely staying there on mine. And then we get the other piece here. Again, very, very weighty. It is double layered as well. That'll focus. There we go. So as you can see, some nice stitch work here as well. Just got some really cool stuff going on here. So yeah, and wired. This is wired as well within here and here. So that's always, always welcome. Then we get a couple more pieces here. So we get the blood trail, and this works as kind of a stand for either the figure or the last piece we're going to look at in a second. This is just kind of a flat matte black, matte red, pardon me. And yeah, just very, very nice. Really love the sculpt here. The way they made that look just looks really good on the ground. So fantastic there. And then finally we get the clock. And this is amazing. This comes in several separate pieces, details all around. Like this crow piece is off when you take it out of the package. But as you can see, some really nice sculpt work here on the spire and the crow itself with a nice red eye. We get those details within the clock itself. The face, or the glass piece does come off. You can see there's a couple pieces of acrylic. Some nice sculpt work going on there. The face of the clock itself does have this just beautiful work going on here. The red moon kind of coming up, just beautifully done. Nice wash there with the gold. Everything's super, super clean as well. You can see the inner workings there of the clock. I come down to the base, get the green man, and yeah, just very, very nicely done all around. And like I said, it all comes apart because that comes off. The base of the base is separate in the box as well. Of course, I'll do that on camera, so I can't actually get it back on. I'll get that back later. But so as you can see, very, very just beautifully done piece all around. So that will do it for accessories. Articulation here is very nice, and we are holding a freestanding kick. However, I am using the stand as assistance, but you know, still can make it work. And I think this is legit, especially with the blood trail. So we get that. And so breaking it down to the finer points, we are on a ball hinge here for the head, and we get all the up. So we're all the way up here, then we're looking all the way down. And because we have so much room, we get insane amounts of tilt. And something I didn't realize until earlier as I was kind of like messing with this is actually the mask actually comes off. You can see the hinges there. So there's a kind of a cavernous face going on there, or lack of a face as it were. And these just kind of plug back in. And these do allow for a little bit of jaw movement. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to get this back in on screen because that's gonna be asking too much. But yeah, as you can see, you can kind of move a little bit. It was a little bit way too much now, but there you go. So you get a little bit of movement in the mouth thanks to that movement with the mask. So there's that. Our arms, we are on hinge and swivel, coming up to just about our T. So obviously you can swivel there too. Nothing in the bicep, but we do have extremely generous elbows, bringing us to there. And we get rotation there as well. We get hinge and swivel at the wrists, all horizontal with the exception of those vertical grips that we looked at earlier. Then we get nothing in the diaphragm, but we do get a very generous ball joint here at the waist, which is giving us some very nice crunch, some decent arch back, and then tons and tons of side to side. So you get some really nice movement all the way around there. Then our hips, we are on hinges, and this actually doesn't get in the way too much. So we're not full splits, but we're definitely doing very, very nicely there. There is an assembly here that allows for a thigh swivel. We can kick forward about that far. So very, very nice. We have single jointed knees, which will bring us just past 90. Then we get a swivel here at the top of the foot, which acts as our kind of boot cut. And we get very, very nice point, some insane forward, and then some very, very generous rocker as well. So that's articulation. Getting into size comparisons, here he is with a Mythic Legion's Krampus and a Berserker Studios Hades, with some Hasbro and some Mattel, with some imports, with some monsters. Finally, with articulated icons, Oni and yours truly in human form as a Valverse Action Force figure. So my final thoughts on the Mythic Legion's Figura Obscura Masque of the Red Death figure from Four Horsemen Studios is that this is a great figure. I mean, the presentation here is absolutely unmatched. You know, just it's a great looking figure, period. There's some incredible accessories, just really good overall. And I mean, this is very much just in keeping with what Four Horsemen have been doing with the Mythic Legion's line, especially with this subline, and it's just been really cool to see. Also, as part of the way this subline works is that they basically make an announcement and it drops that day, and they might do a second, possibly a third drop, but usually it's like pretty much gone. And yeah, this one stayed up for a little bit, but as of right now, this recording, it is all sold out, and I guess that's it. So unfortunately, your friend is hopefully the secondary market in that regards, if you're still looking to get one, or if you were just curious as to kind of like what the whole deal with this thing was. I hope I sated that interest. And that being said, I want to thank you for watching, and you know, I again hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. If you did, I hope to see you back, because I do multiple reviews a week of action figures related to tokusatsu, dinosaurs, monsters, pro wrestling, and more. So if any of those things interest you, come on back. Let's talk some more toys. And in any event, I just ultimately hope that you are well. I hope that all of your toy dreams come true. And most importantly, I hope that you and yours stay weird, simians.